The power goes out. Not just in your house, everywhere. No warning, no explanation, no way to call for help. Cars stop on the freeway, stores close, medications run out. That's the world of 1 second after. And it's not just a story, it's a wake up call for every prepper. Welcome to Prepper's Paradigm, your channel dedicated to practical prepping and disaster preparedness. I use a computer-generated voice because an injury makes my own voice hard to understand, but that won't stop me from sharing what matters. In this video, we're taking a closer look at 1 Second After by William R. Forstchen. It's one of the most talked about novels in the prepping world, and for good reason. Based on real-world EMP threat assessments, this book doesn't just entertain, it shows what long-term collapse really looks like. We'll break down what the book gets right, what it leaves out, and why it should be required reading for every prepper. While we won't spoil any major plot twists, there are a few light story details discussed, just enough to explain why this book matters for preparedness. There's a link in the description if you'd like to grab a copy and support the channel in the process. 1 Second After is a survival novel set in a small town in North Carolina. The story begins just moments before a high-altitude EMP attack knocks out the entire U.S. power grid. The main character, John Matherson, is a retired Army officer and widowed father of two. He's suddenly thrown into a world where nothing works, no cars, no phones, no refrigeration, no resupply. What follows is a slow, brutal collapse of society. We see how fast store shelves empty, how medical supplies disappear, and how hard choices must be made to keep people alive. Unlike most disaster stories, this one doesn't rely on unrealistic action scenes or heroics. It's grounded in day-to-day struggles, hunting for food, defending against looters, and dealing with starvation and disease. The story is fictional, but it's based on real Department of Defense studies about EMP threats, and that makes it worth paying attention to. 1 Second After connects with preppers because it doesn't hold back. It shows what happens when the system fails and no one's coming to help. The collapse begins with the small stuff: power's out, cars don't work, food starts to spoil. But it escalates quickly: no deliveries, no medicine, no communication, and no government response. People who rely on vital medication face serious consequences within days. It's a reminder that prepping isn't just about stockpiling, it's about thinking ahead for family members who need specific care. Security becomes a problem fast. As desperation rises, so do threats from looters, gangs, and even desperate neighbors. The town has to organize its own defenses. They have no other option. This isn't about gear or gadgets. It's about grit, hard choices, and what really matters when everything else is gone. For anyone serious about preparedness, this story hits close to home. 1 Second After isn't just a good read, it's packed with real lessons for anyone focused on preparedness. First, the importance of food storage. The characters quickly run out of store-bought supplies. Gardens, hunting, and rationing become the new reality. If you don't already have long-term food on hand, this book will make you think twice about waiting. Second, medical supplies matter a lot. The town quickly runs into a crisis with prescription medications. Without resupply, people who depend on daily treatment are at serious risk. It's a hard truth, but one that highlights the need to plan for medical needs before a disaster ever hits. Third, community defense. Once the collapse sets in, the town faces outside threats: organized gangs, desperate travelers, even raiders. As outside threats grow, the town has to take its own approach to security. This highlights why it's worth thinking through how you protect your home or neighborhood, especially if law enforcement is stretched thin or gone. Then there's communications. No phones, no radios, no news. They have no idea how widespread the disaster is. It's a powerful reminder to consider backup comms like GMRS or ham radios. And finally, mental toughness. People break down. Some give up. Others rise to the occasion. Prepping isn't just about having the right tools. It's about staying calm, making decisions, and adapting to a new reality. 1 Second After gets a lot right, and that's what makes it so valuable to preppers. The pacing of the collapse feels real. It doesn't all fall apart in one day. Supplies run out over time. People hold on to hope at first, then slowly realize no help is coming. The lack of resources is portrayed accurately. There's no sudden fix, no secret stash. It's just people trying to get by with what they have and realizing it's not enough. It also shows the mental strain of long-term collapse, decision fatigue, grief, leadership under pressure. This part isn't talked about enough in the prepping world, but the book handles it well. Community dynamics are another strength. We see how trust becomes currency and how old social roles disappear. People who were once respected fall apart. Others step up because they have practical skills or can make hard calls. But there are a few areas where the book holds back. It doesn't go deep into off-grid tech or solutions that could have helped. There's barely any mention of alternative power setups, water filtration methods, or sanitation systems that real preppers often focus on. That said, the story is about people, not gear. And for most readers, that makes the collapse feel personal and real. 1 Second After isn't just a book, it's a warning. If you're new to prepping, it'll open your eyes to what a long-term grid-down disaster actually looks like. If you've been prepping for years, it'll make you reevaluate your plans. Either way, it helps you mentally walk through the consequences of a major SHTF event. It's also a powerful tool for starting conversations. If your family or friends don't understand why you prep, this book might be the thing that gets through to them. It doesn't preach, it just shows how fast life can fall apart without warning. And if you want to dig deeper, there are the sequels, 1 year after, The Final Day, and 5 years after. They follow the same characters as they try to rebuild and deal with new threats, including how the federal government comes back into the picture. The series as a whole covers short-term collapse, long-term survival, and the difficult choices that come with both. We've linked 1 Second After and the full series in the description. Using those links support the channel at no extra cost to you and get you access to one of the most impactful survival stories out there. And if you've already read it, drop a comment below. What stuck with you the most? What did it make you think about in your own preparedness plans? While you're here, don't forget to like the video, share it with other preppers, and subscribe for more no-nonsense prepping content. 1 Second After shows just how fragile modern life really is. No warning, no rescue. Just you, your family, and whatever you've prepared ahead of time. That's the kind of reality we focus on here. Thanks for watching Prepper's Paradigm, your channel dedicated to practical prepping and disaster preparedness.